The French Revolution was a major political and social movement that erupted in France in 1789 and lasted until 1799. It ended absolute monarchy, abolished the feudal system, and proclaimed new principles such as liberty, equality, and popular sovereignty, becoming one of the most important events in modern history. Before 1789, France lived under a system known as the Ancien Régime. Society was divided into three classes: the clergy, first class; the nobility, second class; and the common people, including peasants, workers, merchants, and the bourgeoisie, third class. Although the third class represented more than 95% of the population, it bore the brunt of the taxes, while the first and second classes enjoyed extensive privileges and tax exemptions. The revolution did not erupt due to a single cause, but rather as a result of several factors that had accumulated over years: a severe financial crisis caused by wars and debt, rising bread prices and widespread famine, the injustices of the feudal system, and the imposition of taxes on the poor while exempting the rich. The French were influenced by the Enlightenment ideas, particularly the writings of Rousseau, Voltaire, and Montesquieu, which advocated for liberty, equality, and the limitation of power. In May 1789, King Louis XVI summoned representatives of the three estates to a meeting to resolve the financial crisis. However, the representatives of the Third Estate declared that they represented the entire French people, formed the National Assembly, and vowed not to secede until a new constitution was established. This was the first challenge to the king's authority. On July 14, 1789, the people of Paris stormed the Bastille prison. Although the prison held only a few prisoners, it was a symbol of the king's tyranny. The storming of the Bastille became a practical declaration that the revolution had begun, and this day remains France's national holiday. After the success of the First Revolution, the revolutionaries abolished the feudal system and issued the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen. The declaration affirmed that all citizens were equal before the law, and that liberty, property rights, and freedom of expression were fundamental rights for every human being. As events unfolded, the king lost the people's trust. In 1792, the monarchy was abolished and the French Republic was proclaimed. Louis XVI was then tried for treason and executed by guillotine in 1793, followed months later by his wife, Marie Antoinette. After the fall of the monarchy, the Jacobins, led by Maximilien Robespierre, seized power. France experienced what became known as the Reign of Terror, during which tens of thousands were executed by guillotine for alleged counter-revolutionary activities, instilling fear throughout society. Robespierre was ultimately executed in 1794, an irony that illustrated how the revolution had consumed so many of its own leaders. The unrest continued until 1799, when the military coup led by Napoleon Bonaparte ended the Directory government. Most historians consider this event to be the end of the French Revolution, although Napoleon retained a number of its principles and introduced extensive legal and administrative reforms.